might surprise you to find out that HBO Max, Max, whatever, still, David Zaza.
It's the one to watch HBO.
What the hell? It's still, other than Peacock, the dumbest name for your streaming service. Okay, anyway. Max, it might surprise you to find out, is actually the #1 ranked customer satisfaction streaming service out of all of them right now.
You mean satisfaction?
Oh, jeez.
He likes it. He's like, that's the song of my new tune.
Satisfaction. How long, Ray, have you been waiting?
I should have just
How long
kept
have
it
you
in
been
here.
waiting for this?
Should have just kept it in here and just let you go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, as we go and look at the list, this list is taken from Variety, by the way. Variety gave the list of what the customer satisfaction is. At #1 is Max. At #2 is Hulu. I'm not surprised to see that one right up there near the top. #3 is Disney Plus. #4 is Apple TV Plus with 81% approval. #5 is Paramount Plus with 79. All the way down at #6 is the biggest streamer in the world, is Netflix at a 77% approval. Prime Video is at #4, and last on their 8 list was Peacock at 74 as well. It's an interesting list here, and I'm not surprised by Max being at #1 at all, because take away all the whining and crying about, oh, DC's starting a new DC, or, we didn't like that. They didn't put Batgirl in theaters, which, by the way, was still 100% the right decision for them to make. Or they took these things off of Max. Take all that away. Max is the superior streaming service. I mean, because it just goes back from their catalog material to the new stuff they put out. They have a degree and a level of excellence. Now, look, not everything they put out is top shelf. Nobody's is. But they have a much higher winning percentage, I would suggest, than anybody else. And if you're a Max subscriber, and especially if you're a Max subscriber that kind of likes the cooking shows, the home renovation shows, because now all of Discovery's content is now on Max. So to be honest with you, I'm really not surprised to see Max came in at #1. At #2 being Hulu, only 1% behind. Again, they have been probably my favorite streaming service for a long time. I mean, you guys remember for a long time I said, if I could only have one streaming service, I hate to give a lot of them up, but I would probably stick with Hulu. Disney Plus comes in with a strong showing at 85%. Apple TV Plus, 81. I have a feeling Apple TV Plus is going to continue to score higher as years go by and they add more content, because they are still, they're a quality, not a quantity. You can make an argument Netflix, who does have some very high quality stuff, by the way, but their philosophy is all about quantity over quality. I mean, they just put so much stuff out. Apple's approach seems to be different. And I think as they start to accumulate more original content, you're going to see that approval percentage goes up. Paramount Plus have been doing a nice job.
Yeah, they should be #1, actually.
You think so?
You know why?
Why?
Because I've tried to cancel them for like, no, for like,
argument.
No, for like a full year. And every time I try to cancel, they go, hey, don't leave. We'll give you 3 more months. I think I've stacked so many free months. I think I have it until 2027. Like that, like every time I try to cancel, because like, I'm like, maybe I watched everything. They're like, no, stick with us.
Where did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles end up? Is that
Paramount Plus.
Oh, well, that's another good reason.
Yeah,
why
I
you
watched it
didn't
a couple
cancel.
times. And so, we'll see how long this trial lasts.
Prime Video, again, they knock it out of the park with some things. I mean, obviously The Boys, Gen V right now, which is blowing my mind. I love Gen V. And then Peacock, which, you know what? Oh, God.
They're getting stuff.
And by the way, their approval percentage is up from last year.
Good.
So but I'll be honest with you. I like a number of things on Peacock, but if they didn't have The Office and Parks and Rec, I don't know if I would still have Peacock. I mostly have Peacock because I got to watch regular reruns of The Office and Parks and Rec, but it's an interesting thing there.
All I can think about here is Max. 88% of the time, we satisfy all the time.
Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Vessi. Now, like me, I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Vessi, the shoe that claims to be incredibly comfortable and waterproof on top of that. Well, these claims are really interesting to me because as a Canadian who walked around in a lot of snow, and as somebody who likes to go camping and hiking with his wife on the weekends, there's nothing more uncomfortable and horrible than walking around in wet feet. So after receiving my first pair of Vessis and noticing how incredibly good looking the shoes are and how mind-boggling comfortable and flexible they are, the first thing I did was I took them into the backyard to put it to the supreme waterproof test and dipped my feet in my pool. Guys, my feet were bone dry, and like 20 seconds after having them in the pool and I touched them, the shoes themselves were also bone dry. Guys, seriously, these shoes are stupidly comfortable, they look great, and they absolutely lived up to the claim of being waterproof and keeping my feet dry. I absolutely love my Vessi shoes. So guys, if you want shoes that are good looking, are ridiculously comfortable, and on top of all that waterproof, you need to head to vessi.com/Campea and get yourselves a pair today. Go to vessi.com/Campea and get shoes for your best summer yet. Chris, you had a chance to see this list and these rankings. Do any of these surprise you? Why do you think it worked out this way? What would you have put at number one? How do you see it?
I'm a little surprised. Although Max has some really quality television on it, obviously. But for me, Apple is the one that really fires on all cylinders. And sure, it's not as intensive a catalog or anything. There's not as an extensive list there. But man, all their original stuff is so good and so worth it. Max, I think, just also ticks a couple like nostalgia things for me because I can go back and watch like some classic DC things. I can go back and watch a whole bunch of different movies. So there's definitely a large catalog that I think is appealing to everybody. But man, I'm surprised that a lot of people have it. And that's the number one.
I mean,
especially
look,
with their transition.
There's an argument to be made too. Like if you just want to look at catalog, there's an argument to be made if you get a lot of people together and put together a list of like the 15 best television shows ever, maybe like a third of that list is going to be taken up just by HBO and Max shows.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat that.
So, I mean, so you got the catalog stuff, you got their current stuff, you got DC stuff, you got the Discovery stuff. I mean, I really do think the one thing that's holding Apple back a little bit is that it is such a small selection right now. Like, oh my God, there's maybe Last of Us Season 2, maybe House of the Dragon, but there's not many shows that I'm as excited about coming back as
Severance.
Well, actually, no, Severance is another one, but it's not Severance. It's the Jason Segel one. Shrinking. Yeah. There's very few shows I'm as excited about coming back as Shrinking, but Severance is another one. I mean, so it's like they've got all the boxes checked, right? They've got big catalog. They got your comic book stuff in there if you want that. They've got insanely superior originals. So yeah, they're doing good, but it's good. But I think as Apple starts to add more and more and more, I think you're going to see Apple continue to climb that list. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.